Wow. Okay, so this story, yes, it is not the a-hole straight away. I'm giving that to you. That's not what makes this story just ridiculous. It's why her entire family doesn't fully support the actions she takes. Can you guess why? I'll let you try and figure out why. Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend that I don't think it's appropriate to come on the family vacation? Me, 21-year-old female, and my boyfriend, 23 male, we'll call him Charlie. Around a month ago, my mum mentioned a family vacation while in a call with me. Charlie and I have been together for about 1 year. He has still not met my mum's side of the family, only my dad's. My mum, who's 42, lives in my home country together with my stepdad, who's 50, and my stepbrother lives there too, but not in our hometown. Now because of this, he hasn't had the chance to meet them yet. Yesterday I mentioned it to my best friend, who I have been friends with for 17 years now. I was on the phone with her. She is still in the city we grew up in and goes to university there. Because of that, she often sees my parents. My mum invited her like any other vacation, and this time she has decided to come. The trip is fully paid by my stepdad and my mum. My stepbrother will be bringing his fiancée too. Charlie was in the room while I was on the call and asked me what he should pack. I looked at him confused and asked if he is going somewhere. He said that he needs to know what to pack for the trip. I laughed and thought he was joking since I never said he was coming. When I realized he was serious, I sat him down and told him that he isn't going to be able to come and there was no reservation for him. Plus, it will be very inappropriate to invite him over, knowing that this is a family trip and it will make a bad impression, like he is trying to come just because it's gonna be free. They have never met him and there isn't any rooms left. He doesn't have a passport and other reasons that I tried explaining. He flipped out on me, telling me that I'm a biatch and that I'm probably cheating on him and that's why he's not invited. I tried explaining, but he left the apartment. He hasn't returned since yesterday, and at 4 a.m. I have to leave for the airport. I'm worried sick. I called many times and texted, but he isn't responding. So am I the a-hole? Now honestly, when you read that, do you not kind of think that she's a bit of an a-hole in the way she directed all this? Like, where's the assurance that I'd love for you to come, but we've already planned this as just a pure family trip. I'm not ready to invite you to the family yet. I don't think this is an appropriate way to introduce you to the family. If you had the money, I would totally say yes to you coming. Like, you know, where's the assurance you actually want him there? Don't necessarily know about the storming out issue, but hey, do what you do to vent off your steam and not create more of an argument, I guess. I mean, this person makes some points. If I understand the timeline correctly, based on what you say in your post, you've known about the trip, which is overseas, for at least a month. You're leaving tomorrow. Your boyfriend found out about the trip and also found out that he's not invited last night. So basically 24 hours-ish before your departure. He only found out because he overheard your phone call. So it appears that you were, what, planning to tell him on your way out the door to the airport? Or maybe leaving a note for him to find out after you were gone? You're the a-hole, and I don't blame him for being upset. Don't be surprised if he's long gone by the time you get back. Now someone bites back by bringing up the whole issue that he doesn't have a passport anyway, and he's clearly just assumed he got to go along on this vacation just because she was going along. But it's revealed from the OP that, well, he knew for about 2 weeks. So even then though, I mean, surely she assured him that he could have come if, you know, all these other things are sorted out. I hope. Well, fret not, there is an update. Some things go down in her apartment after she was gone. Things that make you realize, yeah, nah, good idea not letting him come along. In fact, good idea just ditching him in general. When I was leaving from the apartment 4 days ago, I left a key to my neighbor and friend. Yesterday, she called me to inform me that my boyfriend's stuff is missing, and my writing studio and my manga collection are destroyed. Some of my savings are stolen, and yesterday he has tried to empty my bank account but failed miserably. $5,000 is apparently missing from the drawer of my nightstand, and the boyfriend is nowhere to be found. Luckily for me, my stepbrother's fiance's mother is a lawyer. Though my mum's side of the family, stepbrother, his fiance, mum, stepdad, grandmas, and grandpas, etc., are trying to calm me down and get me away from the situation as much as possible. I thought this was a minor problem in the beginning, but here we are. Dad's side of the family is telling me to drop the charges and that I'm overreacting. Yes, I did place charges. I will have to deal with it further when I get back, but police are already on the hunt for him. Some people said that I was the a-hole because this would be the perfect time to meet my family. But in this case, it just seemed like a direct, I want a free trip to me. Somebody pointed out we have communication problems. Yes, we do. I didn't really want to mention this, but I'm on the autism spectrum, so it's pretty normal in a way. Also, he knew 2.5 weeks before I went to the trip, and I made it clear he won't be coming. Yeah, so essentially this boyfriend's trashed the place, and apparently over $25,000 worth of things, including the $5K that he stole. I mean, I'm sure we can all collectively agree that losing about $20,000 of equipment and personal belongings is, yeah, press charges. What's this overreacting exactly? In regards to the dad's side of the family having such a ridiculously calm reaction, does your dad's side of the family fully understand the situation? You need to tell them he destroyed your electronic devices, other stuff, stole $5K, and tried to clean out your bank account too, which I guess has thousands more in it. They shouldn't let your boyfriend off the hook. You were doing the right thing in involving the police. And the weirdest revelation, my aunt and grandma confirmed that my cousin was into my boyfriend, and that is why they don't want me to press charges. What? No, don't press charges and try to get all your belongings or valuables back of any kind. No, please don't, because your cousin wants to bang. And just for clarity here, the aunt and grandma aren't in favor of the cousin in this whole decision that the dad's side of the family is making. They're on the OP's side. Only ones on the dad's side of the family who actually think that she's justified in pressing charges. So they're fine with letting a crazy into the family. Nice. No, they're already crazy in the family. They're just heading crazies into the fold. Now, in regards to what some of us might think as to why the hell you'd have $5,000 just casually in your nightstand, it was a practice she's picked up on from her mother, as she would do it in emergencies, and so she now does it too. And obviously, as we're learning here, maybe get a safe. But yeah, nothing much else to say, just like, story gives off some dramatic rom-com vibes of forgiving someone's reckless and bad behavior because, oh, your cousin thinks they're hot. Justice served. Moving on to another travel-style story, where we experience a husband who had just the most supportive upbringing, especially from Mummy Dearest, telling him he'll never amount to anything. Wholesome. It begins 2 months ago. Am I the a-hole for not waking my partner up and causing him to miss a family trip? I'm a 26-year-old female, and my partner, who's 28 male, have 5 daughters, 7, 6, 4, 3, and 5 months. For a long time, there's been an issue with him getting up to help with the kids of a morning. He thinks he should be able to sleep in on his days off work. Well, I think he should get up when the kids and I do. Or we should at least be alternating who lies in a bit. We've been seeing a therapist who has mentioned he should be helping more in the mornings. Recently, we had a family trip planned to the zoo with both of our parents, our sisters, and their kids. Previously, when we've gone out for the day, I've needed to shake my partner awake several times, and he lies in bed while I get the kids ready. He'll finally get up 5 minutes before we leave as I shout at him I'm getting in the car. I've mentioned to him that this is very frustrating, as it's a lot of work getting the kids ready to go out, and it's not fair to leave it up to me while he lies on the bed. He'd apologize and promise that the next time he'd get up and help. Probably wondering why the hell I was centering the dad as the possible victim in this story at the start. Well, it has an update, and also you'll find out. The night before the trip, I told him I'd need him to be awake at 6:30 a.m. so we could get everyone ready to leave by 8 a.m. He said he'd set an alarm, and we went to bed. My alarm went off at 6:30, and I got up while my partner kept sleeping. I decided I wasn't going to wake him this time and continued getting the kids ready. At 8 a.m., he was still sleeping, so I loaded the kids in the car and we set off. We arrived at the zoo at 9:30 a.m. and his family asked where he was. I mentioned he was still in bed and chose not to come. 10:15 a.m. I got a phone call from him asking where everyone was. I said we went to the zoo as planned, and I waited for him to get up, but he never did. He got really mad and told me that I should have woken him up like I always do, and I caused him to miss the trip. He then called his mum and complained to her, who yelled at me in the middle of the zoo that I was being unfair, and I should have given him a shake to let him know he needed to get up, and that I was about to leave. My mother jumped in and said it wasn't my responsibility to get him out of bed, and he needed to take responsibility for himself. A few more words were exchanged, and his family stalked off for the rest of the trip. I had a blast with my kids, parents, sister, and my nephews. When we got home, my partner started on me again about how I should have woken him up. So am I the a-hole for not waking him up and going without him? Before we pass judgment though, there is some more things to clarify. He wasn't always like this. When the oldest two were little, he was always up with them. He even got up before anyone else to cook breakfast before going off to work. He had to move in with his parents at one point, and that's where things started to change. His family are incredibly misogynistic. Dad works, then comes home, watches TV, and drinks beer while his mum does everything else, including getting him up for work, etc. These beliefs seem to have rubbed off on him, and his mum is very quick to tell him something is the woman's job. Also, he's seeing a therapist independently who has suggested some form of depression. Also, he's generally pretty good otherwise. He will help with dinner, cleaning, putting the kids to bed, etc. He's not entirely useless. Getting out of bed in the morning is a long-standing issue though. Also, he has a vasectomy after baby number 4, which turned out to be incomplete. I had a hysterectomy. Why? You got so much more space for more kids though, surely. So, with that little block of clarification, it does come across, well hey, look, maybe it's not so much a case that he's just, being careless, he's just trying a new change of lifestyle, where he leaves it up to someone else to be responsible. Misogyny! Great for one side! No, but clearly it's a case of not the a-hole, if this is how it's been. I would argue accusing or making the lie that he chose not to come to be a bit, that's not true. If anything, it would be better to be honest about the fact that, well, he didn't wake up in time and I'm sick of having to always wake him up myself. Though to be fair, okay, I don't know about you, but I personally find it really sweet when my partner wakes me up in the morning or when I wake them up as well. Though I guess there's a difference between, good morning and wake up! But I did say there was an update, so let's get straight into that. It came out just about a day ago. After posting this, I received messages expressing concern and advice, so I thought I'd update about how things turned out. The morning after this incident, my partner got out of bed when the kids did and took the older girls out for breakfast. Later, I asked him if he'd be willing to read the thread, and he agreed. He was very subdued afterwards, and didn't say much except for agreeing that he was an a-hole. Next day, he took off work and saw his GP, started on antidepressants, and we had a long talk. Look at that bare minimum standards of being a mature partner in a relationship, admitting when you're wrong. Pro tip, if you want to find someone like this in your life, date someone who's constantly insecure about themselves. He was ashamed by how he was acting, and to see strangers comparing him to children. He cried when he realized how much he was letting everyone down, especially his daughters who will grow up thinking this is normal behavior. Confirmed that this all started when we lived with his parents a few years back. He left home at 17 to get away from his mother, and she told him he'd fail as a man. She told him he'd fail as men need a woman to look after them. He felt like a failure, so it was easy for his mother to feed him other ideas. And she also manipulated things I did to look like he was incompetent as a person. Example, I'd tell him to relax and I'd handle the dishes. And his mother twisted it into me thinking that he was incompetent. So he should just stop helping at all. He'd wake up feeling useless, and she'd manage to convince him that he was unhappy because I wasn't taking care of him the way a wife should. So it's a real Rapunzel's mother here, except towards a son instead of a daughter. But gosh darn, I mean, can you see this as the mother trying to project her value onto another relationship? No, this is how you're meant to be with your man, because if you're not, then that means all this stress and responsibility I've been having to do for him has been for nothing, and I'm actually, I don't need to deal with all this. No, I have to, because I'm the woman. That's my purpose. It's not, actually. Told him he'd fail as a men need women to look after them. They don't. You, just as a mother, encourage men to think like that, and they become spoiled little babies who, instead of making an effort to be treated like kings, they just sit on their little throne like babies, expecting to get mummy's milk whenever they flick their little fingers. And we wonder why women are so picky. But hey, on the positive, he's recognized these things. He's admitted this about himself, so what does he do? Well, he does a good thing. He decided to go no contact with her, which didn't go well. She cried and told him he was a horrible son for abandoning his mother, and that I was trying to control him by forcing him to do it. He blocked her, but she just used different numbers to continue calling him. After a week or so, he ended up changing his number, and we haven't heard from his family since. He brought up that he was unhappy at work, as it wasn't stimulating enough, but he felt like he couldn't leave. I offered to pick up some part-time work, but he said no. He talked to his boss and took some time off, and eventually quit. He spoke to my dad, who used some connections and got him a good job at his company. The new job is primarily work-from-home position, so he is able to help with the girls some more and has more free time. He is able to take the girls to school and watch them play while he works, which they all enjoy. Before he started the new job, he booked a trip for us to go to the snow for a week. We had a blast, and it was lovely to see him relaxed and happy and enjoying our girls and life. He's promised to be more honest and about how he's feeling, and our relationship has improved immensely. So thank you for everyone who gave judgment and advice. As he says, it really helped him see things more clearly, especially the toxic relationship with his mother. What? Complaining about your life on Reddit actually helped? Lies! Blasphemy! No, but in all seriousness, glad to see things turned out well. It's rare you get those stories now and again. It's a great example as to how us younger generations are only really going to therapy because our parents never did. Like, their trauma's got to go somewhere, and it's definitely going to the kids. Anyway, we'll end today's stories there. Thank you as always for watching and enjoying these videos. Sorry it's not been a consistent run so far. Technically have like 3 jobs, so I'm juggling a lot of plates. But when I see ya, it's a lot of fun. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Drink some water. Love your face. Bye.